Welcome to the startup video for 2019. Our church is moving into this new year, and we're blessed to have you in our leadership role that helps us accomplish what God has in store for us. We have an awesome horizon ahead of us that we are pushing toward. We feel like it's important for us to be able to live into that horizon. We have projects that we're working toward. We have ministry opportunities that are ahead of us. We're trying to reach some new people in our community, reach out to those that are within our reach. We also are working hard to try to improve what we have. And so there's a lot of things that are on tap for us that we're excited about. In this month, we're going to be unveiling a new tagline and logo for our church that simplifies and directs and gives a sense of momentum, focuses us together on a direction that I feel excited about. So look for that as well. And as leaders, we will want you to help us be able to communicate that tagline in all of our work. We feel like there is something there for every aspect of our ministry work together. In 2019, we have our staff in place. We have a great lean budget that enables us to accomplish what we feel like we've planned to accomplish. We also have very strong support for that budget, and we finished 2018 very strong. So we're excited about those possibilities as well. We're trying to coach our church to be all in, our membership to be all in, but also our leadership to be all in. That is to say, fully committed, completely given to what God wants to do in our church. And the outcomes that we're looking when it comes to being all in are with regard to transformation, life transformation, with regard to community, forming those family groups within our church, classes, small groups, formation groups, service groups, with regard to the kind of service opportunities, generosity, and becoming a welcoming, inviting kind of a church environment. So those are the outcomes that we feel like God wants to see happen in our church. We're encouraging our membership to still follow the Worship Plus 2 challenge. It's like a self-challenge to look at what's my worship home at our church, which worship service is my home, and how often can I be there, to try to be here at least 2/3 of the time. With our culture pushing away and being so busy out there, we're finding that we have to push back and say, be in church every chance you possibly can be, because face-to-face we're better. Worship Plus 2 challenges us to be in worship and to find two things. One is a place to serve, and two is a place to be served or to be filled or replenished. A small group, a class. A place to serve is maybe teaching or leading or in the role that you have agreed to for this year. Worship Plus 2, when our congregation sees that in us as leaders, they're more apt to be a part of that as well. So encourage that with us. Worship Plus 2 and our 5 cultures of being all in our church. We're excited about where that takes us as well as a church. I want to share with you the information in this video that you need to be able to operate in our church. And a packet is attached to this video of information so that you can have it at your fingertips. There'll be some dates. There'll be some rosters. There'll be a list of how our staff is assigned to different areas and how our staff is structured internally as well. So we want you to have that information, and if there's any other information you need, you let your staff person know, and we will feed that to you so that you can have that. Our church council is our major deciding body. And this deciding body meets about 4 times a year. Bill Passwark Jr. is going to be the chair of that group this coming year. And Amber Brady will be the vice chair. We're excited about where that group can help us move toward consolidating, collaborating, coordinating the things that God has us doing as a church. That purpose of that group is to help us stay on track with our mission. And the mission of our church is to create grace-filled environments or grace-filled community where Jesus Christ can transform lives. So the outcome we're after is transform lives. Whether it's a person coming to faith or a person growing in the faith, a person moving into leadership, a person moving into ways of service, a person connecting with other Christians, learning how to be a missionary, even moving into full-time ministry. There's so many ways to measure transformation. And those are the outcomes that we are after as a church. Our church council is there to help us make sure we're moving our respective areas in that direction. Our church is built, structured in such a way to have ministry teams that oversee each of our ministries. And they are usually chaired with a chairperson or a co-chairperson, and also a staff person that's assigned to each ministry team. Those ministry teams work together as a team. They take responsibility. They own the work. They do the recruiting. It's a team effort. Our administrative groups are called committees, or in some cases boards. They work more as a committee where they meet together, make decisions, where staff carry out those decisions. So you can see a little bit of difference between those names. So in both respects, a staff person will be assigned to the area you're working in, and you'll want to work carefully with that staff person and the chairperson in your area. If you are the chairperson, you're going to want to work closely with the staff person assigned to you, setting dates, setting meeting dates, getting information, accessing finances, making sure a building for events and regular routine events are scheduled and scheduled well. So all those things we want to make sure you know how to do. And so covering those things, we want you to know calendaring is a big piece of communication. We've switched to Shelby Next as an overall database and system for our church, and that includes a calendaring program. And so we want you to work with your staff person when it's time to get events, even meetings on the schedule, especially when we're setting aside a meeting place or an event place. Those need to be calendared. And now your staff person can enter that onto the calendar, him or herself. But it still has to be approved by our facilities coordinator, Charles Norton. So we want to make sure that we both have easy access to that calendar where we can view it and adjust it, but we also want to make sure that it's coordinated well through our facility direction and team. So calendar is something that you would be able to access through your staff person. As well, finance access goes through the staff person assigned to your area. Every area most likely has an expense budget. That budget is funded by our contributions to the church. That expense budget can be viewed through your staff person on a monthly basis as the finance committee makes those finance reports available. So that's just our way of tracking how we're spending the funds that we've set aside to do the ministries that we have. Each area may also, doesn't always happen, but may also have a designated account or an agency account. Those are money set outside of the budget for special purposes. It may be in and out accounts, or it may be set aside there for use when it's time to be able to accomplish a big project. So use your staff person to be able to know what designated funds are there and how they might be used, and used well and used appropriately as well. Just know that as we access those funds, we want to use them responsibly, but we want to put them to use so that they help us move forward in the ministry that we are called to accomplish. Working with a staff person carefully, you're going to learn how to access those funds through our PO system and the business office, and what it takes to get something paid for, as well as you're going to be able to see how that affects the overall reporting of the finances of your respective area. Because each month we get reports as to how that is going as well. The staff person that you are working with has a credit card that can be used for his or her own area, and you can work with that staff person to know how a credit card might help in making purchases for events or for supplies. So when you have those needs, make sure you work closely with the staff person assigned. And there is, again, a form in the packet sent to you that shows you who has been assigned to your area. We're going to begin 2019 with a 75% spending throttle. That is to say, we're going to look at what the total budget allotted and then take that down to 75%, shoot for that until we see how revenues are coming in to offset our expenses. That's how we kind of keep tabs on making sure our revenue keeps up with our expenses in our program or controllable areas. Our facility use, we have a blessed and great facility. It's also true that we have a blessed and great facility staff. They are excellent keeping this building ready to be used. And so we want to work carefully to make sure that they are considered and that we work alongside their work. So as we get ready to use our facility, we want you to do your best to help your groups use it well, take good care of it, and make sure our planning is done well so that we're not scheduling on top of each other or creating conflicts. Facility use requests can be done through your staff person, and they will be approved through Charles Norton, our facilities director. We do have usage policies for outside groups, and your staff person, along with Charles Norton, can help you understand what those are if need be. Strategies for us to keep in mind: don't forget our mission statement. Creating grace-filled community where Jesus Christ transforms lives. We want to see transformation happen. Our vision is to be able to live into those 5 cultures of being all in. The culture of transformation, culture of welcoming community and service and generosity. We want to see evidence of those cultures happening in our church. I believe that that's where God is pointing us. We also want to see our church grasp the idea of what it is to be committed. Worship plus 2 is just another way of being committed to what God's doing in our church. We staff are accessible by phone, by email. You can contact us by email, our first initial, our last name, at FUMC.com. So mine would be ccurry@FUMC.com. Holler at us if there's a need for us. The roster information of staff has our contact information, so you can get in touch with us as well. Let's make 2019 a great ministry year, a year where we can push into the horizon that we've been given. We're going to live into this new tagline and let God take us in those directions. We're going to see what Worship 2020 recommendations can do to help stimulate us to let worship be something that helps us push out into our community. We're also going to walk through the sanctuary updates that we have in place, the restoration of the Forest Organ, as well as the paint and plaster projects the trustees have going on. We have new missions locations, new small groups that are happening. Our children's, our youth, our adult areas have new traction, some of the things that they're accomplishing as well. While I'm making this video, our youth group is on its way to Colorado for a ski trip. And so we want to continue to take advantage of those opportunities to touch the lives of those within our reach. So join us in praying for and working for what God is leading us to in 2019.